everyone, welcome into an episode of Titans Tube, and it's a special episode here because with me we have the one and only Chris Newell of Titans in Truth. What's going on, Chris? Thank you for joining us. How have you been, man?
I've been good. I've been real good. Thank y'all for having me back on the show again. It's been a while, and always glad to talk Titans football. We back.
That's right. Football season is back. Finally, we have something to live for again. Or I don't know. I might just be speaking for myself. It might be a different story for you. But anyway, so the Titans got done with a preseason game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on, when did they play that? Sunday night football. And actually, I knew that you were there, Chris, even though we didn't talk about it beforehand, because you got on the Jumbotron, man. I saw you. I was like, I know that guy.
Now, that was the thing. I thought I was on the Jumbotron too, so I didn't know if that was going out nationally or if that was just in the stadium.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, you missed it. You missed an opportunity there. You should have had like a big poster board that says subscribe to Titans in Truth, everyone. Just like flash it up there.
You know what? I thought about that. I said, that would have been a great time to warm my shirt. I could have just did like this.
That's it.
Did like this and everything, and then turn around, be like, subscribe. I wish I had did that, but I think if a lot of people saw and knew who I was, they know what I'm about. So
that's it. That's right.
That might lead to something, but if not, hey, I have y'all to back me up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go check him out. We'll have the link in the description below here on this video to subscribe to his channel. He knows his stuff. He loves talking about Titans as much as we do here. So yeah, I guess we can start here talking about that Pittsburgh Steelers game. Not a lot of positive things, at least, because one of the glaring issues that is being talked about here is that porous offensive line. Mariota getting sacked, back there for his safety. Tannehill was getting sacked. Woodside, all of our quarterbacks. We could have trotted anybody out there and they would have gone down. So I know it's just preseason. That's what you say before all these concerns, before you start talking about all these concerns and it is just preseason, but is there anything that you're kind of seeing that we should be kind of wary about? Because, of course, we don't have Taylor Lewan through the first 4 games, but still some of our starting offensive linemen are getting beat. And if we want to keep Mariota healthy this year, we gotta protect him better than that. So is that something you're concerned about?
Absolutely. I'm actually, y'all have to forgive me, I'm actually getting some delivery, and I'm going at the same time. So, it's always double duty.
As he grabs dinner while answering the all-important question of can Mariota stay healthy here.
With the offensive line, it is a bit of a concern. I'm not going to lie about that because, getting sacked like that, especially in the end zone, is just it's inexcusable. Number one, I probably don't like the play call. You try to drop back in that particular situation. Might have been best to try to get a little bit of room, get out of the end zone. But still, there's no excuse. The offensive line is starting to be a bit of a concern. I know Taylor Lewan is an all-pro, a very good offensive lineman, but I thought I would have seen a bit of a better showing, but it wasn't there. And starting with Roger Saffold, he's our big-ticket free agent.
That's it.
He's had a couple of, in the Patriots game and also in this game, he's had like a bad look right now. I don't know if it's Ben Jones not communicating with him or Dennis Kelly on his left side, but something's just not clicking with this offensive line altogether. Yeah. And right guard it looks like it's going to be an issue all year unless they maybe make a trade or pick up somebody that maybe gets cut. Maybe a high-priced guy that, you know what, somebody else is looking better, we're going to cut. I don't know. The only bright spot, and I've been hearing this through like Taywan Davenport and others, is Jack Conklin seems to be kind of coming back to form.
Good. That's actually really good news. Yeah.
And I think it'll be better with Conklin and Lewan on the outside. I think once Lewan gets there, him and Saffold, they'll be fine. I think Conklin's going to be fine, but that center right guard looks like that's going to be the biggest question still.
Yeah. Even Ben Jones. Ben Jones can be up and down too, even though he's a really good communicator typically on the offensive line. He's a good anchor. He's a smart player, but he has his moments too where he just gets beat as well. So he's good. I'd like to see him be more consistent as well.
That also makes you beg to wonder: did the Titans mess up in the first round and not in the first 2 rounds and not draft an offensive lineman? I mean, you had there were
what's going on with Nate Davis though? First, like we got this guy in the 3rd round, and he seemed to be like maybe we can plug and play this guy. You get picked in the 3rd round. I know he came out of Charlotte, so small school. I don't know that much about him, but if the scouts were so high on him to pick him in the 3rd round, then you kind of expect him to start or at least compete for the spot. But he's got some kind of nagging injury where I just haven't heard anything about him. Is he going to be there this year or what?
That's something that has been an issue as well because from what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing, Nate Davis had some kind of an injury 2 days in the training camp, hasn't been back since, but the last couple of days he's been doing some individual work. He's been doing a little bit of individual work from what I've been reading about on side fields, but he has not participated fully. And so he's not going to be ready to go to begin the year. I would like, hopefully, at some point during the season, he takes that job at the end, towards the end of the season. But I think all going in, I think Kevin Pomfield is probably going to be starting at right guard to begin the year.
Yeah. He's our guy. And, I mean, we saw him a little bit last year. He came in and started in that Houston Texans game where we somehow won despite not having Mariota or Lawan or who was hurt, like Quentin Spain or something. I can't remember why Pamphil was in the lineup. But yeah, I mean, he came in and we plugged and played him, and he did well. So hopefully we can get that again from him at the right guard position.
And I agree with that because, I mean, Kevin Pomfield did some very good things before he went out with that bicep injury against the Jags last year. I believe that was week 3. He stepped in. I mean, him and Tyler Merritz did probably one of the most masterful jobs they could have done in that game against Houston week 2 because you have Lawan and Conklin out. You have Pomfield on the right side. Well, no, I take it back. Pomfield on the left side, Merritt's on the right side, and you're blocking against the Texans with J.J. Watt on the other side, and yet no sacks were given up. J.J. Watt didn't do a thing in that particular game.
Yeah.
And, he was still doing fine until he had that bicep injury again against Jacksonville. So, I mean, I'm hoping that in the season, Pomfield will be fine. I was really hoping to see what Nate Davis had to offer as far as this, and I think because going back to the draft, you had Lindstrom go, Chris Lindstrom from Boston College ended up going to Atlanta at 14. We're all probably thinking you got to take Garrett Bradbury here. Bradbury at 19 sounds right. Vikings steal him from us right before we pick.
Yeah.
And I think that would have hurt because if Bradbury's there in the middle, and maybe you move Ben Jones to right guard, immediately you have a much better line, in my honest opinion. That hurt us big time. And then you could have had Eric McCoy in round 2, but he gets picked up out of New Orleans before we do. Connor McGovern from Penn State. Some other linemen we could have taken. And I didn't like the fact that JR really did not address that very well. And that's one thing I have a problem with JR with this offensive line, and really with his draft picks in general, is that I think he believes too much in his draft picks. He doesn't want to admit when somebody has failed,
Yeah.
I don't like that, but
He did with Kevin Dodd, at least, thank goodness.
That is one.
Well, I don't know. I can kind of see the thinking of, I mean, we didn't know Lawan was going to get suspended. So, But still, I think he's going to come back. He's going to have a good year. So we know we have Lawan. He did go out and get Roger Saffold, who was great with the Rams. And hopefully he's going to pan out. We have Ben Jones, who, like I said, up and down. We kind of know what we have with him. And then there's the hope that Jack Conklin, that right tackle, can get back to what he was his rookie year before he tore that ACL. And maybe he's thinking, we'll try to work some guys out and just kind of find a right guard position. But with at least those 4 guys, that's 4 solid offensive linemen. And maybe he thought that, Nate Davis, maybe getting someone in the 3rd round or later, that would be good enough. Because those are, I don't know, thinking about it like on paper, those 4 guys can get the job done with Derrick Henry in the backfield, I think. But seeing the quarterbacks getting sacked and all that during the preseason so far is kind of making me lose hope, and maybe it will be an issue.
It looks like it. I agree, and Jack Conklin coming back to form is a big deal. They did not pick up his 5th-year option, so now he has some motivation. Like, I'm trying to get a new deal here. I want to stay. I got to show what I'm worth. So that could be helping. That could be some added motivation to help too. They may have to use some max protection, maybe with Jonnu, with Delaney and the other tight ends to kind of help that offensive line out a little bit. I think a few years ago when we played Indianapolis, that was how Andrew Luck was able to be successful, because they really went pretty much max protection the whole game. Mm-hmm. And it helped Andrew Luck beat us, and we had a good chance to win that game. But they went max protection, we could not get to them. And so I think that's something that we may have to employ to help our offensive line out. We're going to have to play a lot more max protection, which means, it may be, 4 or 5 corners covering 3 or 4 receivers. Yeah. Our guys are going to have to get open and produce.
Keeping like Delaney Walker back to block, Derrick Henry, Deion Lewis protecting on pass plays especially, which kind of stinks because Delaney Walker is a huge weapon in the passing game. We want him down. I'd love for him to be downfield more running routes if
the
Smith offensive line can hold up.
Yeah, Johnny Smith. I'm looking forward to seeing how he bounces back as well. But yeah, kind of going back to this draft class, like Nate Davis we talked about. Hopefully Jeffrey Simmons can work out. It sucks that he's been hurt. And that's kind of why he fell in the draft in the first place, is because he might not have been able to play this year. But if he pans out, that could have been the right move for John Robinson to make. Because, with him next to Casey, Daquan Jones can be pretty sturdy there. He's shown some flashes of really good, consistent play. And Austin Johnson there. With the defensive line, I think if that can be shored up, we're going to have an elite defense for sure. Because I've already seen some good things in the preseason against the run game. I know there were some bad moments last week against the Steelers, but I don't know. Maybe that was more with the 2s and 3s. But
yeah, and I'll say this with the defense against the run. I think we've been very solid. And James kind of had he had a couple of runs, but he didn't just take over the game. He didn't take over the game. And that's something that I think we could definitely hang our hat on, is that our run defense, I think, is going to be very solid. Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown, I'm loving seeing these 2 guys starting. Of course, I hate pushing Wesley Woodyard down a bit, but, eventually we knew this is what was going to happen. It's going to be Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown starting at the linebacking core, and I think we could collectively have the best duo of middle linebackers around if it all pans out right. The thing that I worried about with the first team, especially on defense, what's up with Dori Jackson?
He's not having that great of a preseason, and
Dori is struggling. Like, ever since really he had a solid rookie year, even though he didn't get no interceptions. After that Buffalo game where he had an interception, he had 2. It seems like he's been heading down ever since. And, Malcolm Butler kind of got out of his funk in the second half of the year. Logan Ryan was pretty solid. We missed him the last couple of games. Dori, I don't know what's going on with him. There was an outside zone run that he was coming up to make the play and just looked like he got frozen, like he saw deer in headlights and completely got shook out. And, I mean, had the opportune moment to make a tackle and just missed all the way. And I'm very concerned about that because I expect better from him.
Yeah, and we've seen better.
Yeah, he's been better. I don't know what's going on with that. That could be a liability. So I don't know what's going on there. Something between the ears is not clicking.
He's just relies on his athleticism a lot, and he's super athletic and he's super fast. Even whenever he's lined up on the outside and maybe he gets burned, but he's fast enough to close that gap real quick and still make a play on the ball. But you can't just rely on that every time. What I was going to say too, when we're talking about that safety that the line gave up and how that's just kind of inexcusable. What got us down there in the first place though was a Dori Jackson not fielding that punt. Am I right? Am I wrong about that? Wasn't there a punt and then I don't know? I think he chose to let it hit the ground and then the Steelers downed it down there. And that's just another thing about a Dori Jackson is I don't think I'm that comfortable with him anymore, lining up on punt returns, and not just because he's too valuable on the defense, but more so I don't trust him to make the right decision on fielding the ball or letting it fall to the ground and bounce.
Yeah, and I think with that, he was hoping that it was going to bounce into the end zone, and I think he was hoping it would go into the end zone or through it. And, sometimes you want to pick your poison. You kind of picking your poison with that, especially if it's inside of the 20, 9 times out of 10, and this is just my opinion of knowing football, inside the 20 or inside the 15, it's best to let it go because you don't want that bad field position. But, right. It's kind of a feast of famine because you don't know how that ball's going to bounce. Because it could bounce where it goes to the end zone or bounce where you get some yards, or it's just bouncing. It just stops right there. And it's really nothing he can do about it. Not an excuse, but I'm just giving a reason to all the viewers out here that very well could have been the case with that. In the end, it might have just been just a bad decision with that, and you kind of got to fall where they may. It happens from time to time. Most of the time, it rolls into the end zone, but very few times like that situation.
Nowadays, punters are so good, though. So punters can make that ball bounce backwards or not carry that momentum into the end zone. So, yeah, it's kind of a risk. You never really know which way it's going to go.
We got one of the best in the league that can do that. So, I mean...
He punted an 85-yard punt. Did you see that?
That was incredible. That was incredible. Because there was about 2 or 3 punts that... they were turning Ryan Switzer. He had to kind of back up. He had to backtrack or turn around to kind of track that punt down.
Yeah, he had turned all the way around like he was catching a pass over his shoulder or something. I mean, he was running backwards hard.
Because there were times where it was like, you see the play like, oh, I got to turn around and try to field this. So, I mean, an 81-yard punt. He could have been making weapon in flipping field position.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Madden doesn't watch him because I believe he's rated a 77 in Madden. So we need to give Madden a call and send him that highlight.
Pretty embarrassing.
I don't really go into Madden ratings like that, so
yeah, I mean, but I just think it's funny.
It is very funny. But something I wanted to touch on as far as this particular game, something that was uncharacteristic, something that would have helped Marcus out because he went 0 for 3. In the very limited action that he got, was some of the uncharacteristic drops that happened in those drives. I mean, AJ comes across the middle. If he holds on to that ball, now granted he took a lick from one of the safeties, which I will tell anybody as a guy that formerly played defense in high school, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You make sure if the receiver coming across the middle like that, you light him up. That is what you're supposed to do. And he lit him up, and he drops the ball. Adam Humphries drops a screen pass. Very uncharacteristic.
He's supposed to be the most sure-handed guy we have. That was surprising. It was raining. It was raining, though, if we want to throw an excuse out there. Hey, Pittsburgh receivers, too, were dropping balls as well, so it was kind of an issue on both sides. But
Mother Nature played a big part in this football game. I mean, she did not let up. She didn't let up.
No, she didn't. But, hey, sometimes we're going to find ourselves in that kind of circumstance, those kind of conditions. So we got to get used to playing in rain and find a way to make the plays. So, yeah, 0 for 3. He had one. He had the miss to Corey Davis, which it would have been nice to see him connect on that. But that was like the one true incompletion that was on him. And then he got his face lit up and sacked for the safety. So not a whole lot to take away from Mariota's performance there.
I agree. But I will give a bright side to this. The bright side about this whole game, and I think this is something that all Titan fans listening now here on Titans 2 can take into solace. No injuries.
Yeah.
Nobody got hurt. You know, Marcus didn't get hurt.
Love it.
And I know we're going to probably talk about some injuries and some stuff later.
The Texans can't say that. Sorry, guys. Whoopsies.
You're right about that. And from what I'm hearing, also the Jaguars can't really say that either. You know, as far as I'm concerned with that, I hear they're riddled with some injuries too. So coming through pretty much injury-free, that is a victory in and of itself, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, because, you see it every single year. Guys go down in preseason with injuries, significant players. So, that is a positive. And I'm probably going to go out and say that we're not going to see any starters in the fourth preseason game. Maybe A.J. Brown. Man, I'm excited about him, by the way. I mean, I know he's caught, one pass that's actually counted, but, watching him run routes, looking at the size and strength of him, and his feet are super quick, and he can run some routes. I think he can prove to be a valuable part. I hope he's caught up in the offense, in the scheme, so that he knows what he's doing, so he can just go out and run it 100%.
Now, I will say this. One thing about A.J. Brown that I have noticed with him, like you said, he's running some precise routes. There were a couple of times he was open, and the quarterbacks just missed him. Didn't even, maybe didn't go through the progression and see him. There were a couple of times he was open, and I think there was one where he was open kind of deep. If they just hit him, it's a pretty big gain. So, that's something that they're going to have to notice and make sure that they take advantage of. And, A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, them together with Adam Humphries, I have some high hopes for that.
Yeah, man, and Delanie Walker coming back. I think that's easy to forget about too, but that was a huge blow to the offense last year.
I know.
And we still won 9 games, and Rashard Matthews quit on the team. Come on. That was a huge blow in the first couple weeks of the season.
And that's something I've talked to others about. I've talked to other fans about it, other people and followers that listen to Titans and Truth, by the way, is that if, some people say, well, we still would have been 9-7 or something like that. And I said, hold up. You got to go back, and I know we're going down memory lane a little bit. If you go back to 2 key moments of the season, could have completely changed everything. First, the Miami game, we get hit blow after blow. Marcus goes down, Lawan goes down, Delaney's out for the year. The touchdown gets taken away from a holding call that wasn't there, and 7 hours of a football game. Not to mention with Buffalo, dumb Nick Williams had to do. If he just catches that ball, we're 11-5. We're 11-5 division champs. 2 key games changed our whole season. And really 2 moments changed our whole season. Delaney going down, Nick Williams not catching the ball.
Right.
11-5.
It's so those little things you can pick out over the course of the season. And it's true, but I know a lot of teams can say that as well. Some teams on the cusp of the playoffs can be like, if this just went our way, we're in the playoffs and things are completely different. But I totally agree with you. It's true in our case. So Delanie Walker coming back because he has the best rapport with Mariota, so he's already going to have a better year because of that.
I agree. And for all y'all out there that know, if y'all have watched Any Given Sunday, in that last scene with with Al Pacino, Coach Tony D, he says it. The inches are everywhere. It's a game of inches. You know, inches are everywhere around us, and you got to fight and scratch and claw for that inch. Anybody that gets that inch is going to win the game. So that's what we're going to have to do this year. Every inch, every game, we do it. We can win this division now. It's there for the taking. So, yeah.
Agreed. It's there. And there's a couple things I wanted to hit on before we get to that kind of window being open because of some retirements that you may or may not have heard about, but you probably have, and a big injury to the Texans. Well, I was going to ask, like, what are some bubble guys on the roster that you think can make the team? I don't know. Is that important, or should we brush over that?
Well,
any guys that you think are standing out that are going to make the team because of their play?
That is an important aspect. I'm glad you brought that up because that was something we were gonna. I'm glad we can go into that because I will be everybody just let y'all know Titans and Truth. I will be doing a recording tonight, and I will going to unveil my 53-man roster projection. And right now,
well, we should maybe. I don't want you to spoil your own video in that, and if you want to save it.
I will. I'm gonna talk about some bubble guys that I had a tough time dealing with, but I'm not gonna completely give away my secret. But a couple of guys that I'm looking at, Jeremy Mcnichols continues to stand out little by little in every game. He's done something in every game, which is making it difficult for them to see if they're gonna go 4 running backs or if they're gonna keep 3. Or is Mcnichols over Fluellen, which I doubt that's going to happen because I believe he's like one of Mike Vrabel's favorites. And he's very big on special teams. So I think it's either going to be 4 running backs or Mcnichols is on the practice squad. Khalif Raymond, another. Khalif Raymond, I don't know if he makes this team now. I don't know if he makes this team yet. I would love for him to make the team. I just don't know if there's enough spots because they're going to keep 6 receivers. And Amani Bledsoe and Isaiah Mack.
Yeah, I was going to mention Isaiah Mack. I bet he makes the team.
I would like
he's shown up every game, yeah.
I would like for him to make the team. Amani Bledsoe, he can only make the team because he does have a little bit of versatility because he started at outside linebacker against the Patriots, and he also plays down. So some versatility is good. That might help him. I think he ends up on the practice squad. But those are just a few guys that I think are on the bubble, in my opinion. What do you have as far as bubble guys?
Yeah, not as many as you. I mean, I had Isaiah Mack. I was going to say Khalif Raymond and Cody Hollister, the other receiver, were 2 guys I got really excited about after the first preseason game in Philadelphia, especially Hollister. He was making some beautiful, far-reaching, sideline toe-tapping catches. He caught a touchdown pass in that game as well, and I was like, okay, you have my attention, Hollister. What else are you going to do? And the answer is nothing. I haven't seen him show up since then, and I think Raymond fell off a little bit too. He hasn't made as big of a splash as he did in that first Eagles game too. So honestly, I'd hate to say it, but I don't think either of these guys make the roster because I think. What do you think about Taywan Taylor? Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh man, he may not even make the team. He keeps dropping passes," but I think he makes the team because I think he still brings that unique dynamic to the receiving core of the speed and getting downfield. We saw him do that a handful of times last year. He made some big plays, but I think just because we don't have a receiver like that on the roster, I think that alone is going to help him make the team. And kind of going back to your point, John Robinson kind of doesn't want to say if he's messed up on a pick that quickly, kind of like he did with Kevin Dodd, but I think he wants to hold on to him just in case because that's one of J-Rob's guys. 3rd-round pick, too.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I think by default with Khalif Raymond kind of falling off a little bit, and I agree with you. You know, him and Hollister showed a lot in that first game. But like you said, ever since then, I really haven't heard much from them. You know, Khalif maybe could give something on punt return, possibly. And in that way, you don't have to have Adam Humphries or Dori back there returning punts. I mean, that could be a possibility. But I really think both of these guys are destined for the practice squad. Hollister definitely. I don't know if Khalif Raymond can be on the practice squad. I don't think. Because I know he's been on like a few teams.
Yeah.
He's been on like a few teams. I would say if they can, both of them end up on the practice squad. Just by default, it looks like Taywan Taylor and Darius Jennings is there.
Yeah. I think Jennings makes it too. He's got some kind of knack about him in those kickoff returns where he can find a hole and go, and I think he's the best person on our team to do that.
He might well go back to punt return too.
Yeah. I don't know why. I guess there's those different aspects of the game are just so different that a lot of guys don't have the same guy doing both jobs, and I don't know exactly what it is about fielding punts and fielding kick returns that makes it so different. How some guys can do one but not the other. But Jennings brings some too in their receiving game as well. So I think he's a good depth guy for that to be a fifth or sixth receiver.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. And I mean, now another guy on special teams that I think has really done some things and he's shown some flashes is one of our late draft picks, David Long Jr. He's shown he could go sideline to sideline. He's looking like he's to make some plays on special teams. So I think he may end up being our Darren Bates in like another year or two. He could be our Darren Bates, and I think him being on the team is going to be very, very good. Josh Kalu, another corner, I think it ends up making the back end of the roster as well. So
he's been on the roster, or at least on the preseason roster, at least one or two seasons, because I know the name sounds familiar, and I know he's been with us before. So I don't know if he's like bounced around to some other teams or if he was brought back for another look by us, but yeah.
But I will say the one bad thing could be Logan Woodside.
I think he's cut, unfortunately. Some team's going to pick him up though, because he's had moments of looking good. Yeah.
I mean, the AAF footage is going to prove that. Even if he makes the practice squad, somebody's going to grab him.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to grab him quick. So, and I hate that, but spoils of war.
I like how you put that. Spoils of war. I mean, what is it? 32 teams, and if each team keeps two quarterbacks, that's 64 quarterbacks. He's a top 64 quarterback, I think. He's definitely shows some knack and some savvy and some accuracy too. He really showed up in the Philadelphia game as well.
I agree with that. Totally. And I mean, sad as this could be, if they were to keep Logan, and let's just say they decide to move on from Marcus and go to another quarterback, eventually in the draft, they may keep three. Tannehill's your starter, Logan Woodside's your backup. I mean, that's not better than what we have. But I mean, until a rookie quarterback is ready to take over, that's not the worst. That's not the worst quarterback room in the world. I mean, it's not the worst. It's not nowhere near the best. But I mean, if that were the case, and some of y'all can comment on that too, would it be too bad if it's Ryan Tannehill, Logan Woodside, and then we draft a rookie next year if they decide to move on from Marcus? I don't know. Maybe it's probably.
I don't know. It's a lot of speculation. If you think Mariota gets injured or has a really bad year, we don't resign him. Do you think we're going to go with Ryan Tannehill and sign him to a contract, or do you think we're just going to move on from both of them and go with a rookie? Well, I guess we got to get one of the two here to I guess you don't want to.
It'll be one of the two. I think if Marcus does well and gets a new contract, then Tannehill is gone, I think. Or he stays as the backup. Or if they move on from Marcus, you sign Tannehill maybe to a 1 or 2 year deal. let him start. You groom up your rookie, and depending on how the season's going, if Tannehill has us going okay, maybe it's like a Kansas City situation. You let that rookie quarterback sit and let him learn. But if it's like, okay, we're struggling, we're 1-4 or something like that, then it's time to put that rookie in there. So I think either way, we're in a good situation as far as the quarterbacks go. Call me crazy, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion alone, and I'll die with it.
I respect that. You got to stick to your guns. All right, so I'm glad we're talking about this now, because that was what I was going to ask you next. So Marcus Mariota, huge season for him, biggest season of his career. So what, in your eyes, does he have to do in order to earn a second contract? Obviously he's got to stay healthy. Because I was having this conversation, I was having in a group text with Caleb and another buddy of ours of what he has to do. And one of them brought up the point of, hey, if Marcus puts up 3,800 yards and around 30 touchdowns with 7 or 8 interceptions, whatever, plays really well, but the team fails to meet expectations anyway, somehow, we win 6 or 7 games. He says he definitely thinks it's more likely that he gets a second big long-term contract, as long as he himself plays well, regardless of how the team does. Because if the team wins 11 or 12 games, but Mariota puts up 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, would you resign him?
That's a good question, and shout out to Caleb, by the way. Sorry, I got to take over for you.
Yep, that's true. I should start calling you Caleb. You're the new Caleb.
I don't mind that. I think that's a prestigious title. But I will say with that, I've said it before, yes. Absolutely number one, 16 games. That is obvious. And my projection has always been 15 games, with that last one being we've already either locked up a good playoff spot or division title, and he doesn't need to play in that game. That's why I say 15.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I say 15. Of course we want to play 16 games. But as far as stats go...
We got disconnected from the internet briefly, so sorry about that. But we're back. Chris, you were talking about what you think Mariota needs to do to earn a second contract in terms of the numbers that you would like to see him put up.
Yeah, and so I was saying that I would say anywhere between 35 to 3,700 yards, about 25 touchdowns to, I'd say, 10 interceptions. That would constitute me giving him a second contract. If he has that 15 games, with that last game being, we're sending him out for the playoffs.
So regardless of wins as a team and team success, you think you want to put that emphasis on how he does individually?
I would say that would be individual. I just think if he has a good, solid season, then we got to bring him back. If he has a very good year, stays healthy, gets through all the games, then you got to bring him back. I mean, even if we miss the playoffs, if Marcus at least shows he deserves to be the quarterback going forward, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. Now, if he only throws, like last year, only 13 touchdowns and has 15 interceptions under 3,000 yards, then it might be time to move on. But
especially because this year, with all of the weapons that he's getting back from injury and the additions of A.J. Brown and Adam Humphries, I think we're setting him up to have the best year, at least a solid bounce back year from his past 2 seasons, because you could kind of say, well, he didn't have Delaney Walker, well, Rashard Matthews quit on him, the overall supporting cast really wasn't there for him, but now, it's go time, because he is set up with all these weapons around him. This is one of the best skill position groups I've seen in a long time, if I'm going to be honest, as a Titans fan, maybe since the early days with Steve McNair, Derek Mason, Drew Bennett, Frank Wycheck, all those guys. This might be the most talented group since them.
I agree totally with that. And anybody that's watched Titans in Truth knows I've defended Marcus Mariota for the last 4 years. I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still believe in Marcus. I still think he's the guy going forward. It's just it's put up a shut-up time now. There are no more excuses. I don't want to hear about any more injuries. I don't want to hear no more about, well, he doesn't have no good receivers or nothing like that. You know, with Taywan coming back, I don't want to hear, oh, my God, the offensive line is just horrible. Yeah, it's not great, but it's not the worst offensive line. So right now, it's on Marcus to take us to the next level. If he does that, he gets a new deal. And even if he does, I'm not going anywhere north of 25-5. That's about my boundary, is 25-5 a year. I mean, he's not going to get up there with Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz. Absolutely not. Don't know why Wentz got the money he got, because he hasn't played in one playoff game yet.
Right.
And he's been hurt just as much as Marcus. But
and like Derek Carr, isn't Derek Carr getting paid big like that? He hasn't played
Derek
a playoff
Carr got
game.
$25 million. You know?
He had that one great season in 2016, but he got hurt. But do you think the problem is that's what we may offer him, but do you not think a quarterback needy team will look at Mariota and offer him a lot more money than we will, just because they're kind of desperate? They think that they can make it work with him, and so he'll choose, even though we're offering him a second contract, he'll go after the money because we're kind of lowballing him in the other team's eyes.
Well, we still, and this might hurt some people, but we still got the franchise tag. Now, yeah, that'll be upwards of $30 million. That'll be upwards of $30 million, possibly, because you're within the range of the top 5 quarterbacks. So you're going to be somewhere north of 27 in that situation. But that is that little ace in the hole that we got if it comes to him. We could do that and work out a long-term deal. But yeah, I would say it's like with buying a house. It's like we're buying a house. The seller's going to start low and see what you counter with. So we may start at 25. Then the agent may counter and say, hey, let's go 27.5. And if they say 27.5, you know, it's a bit much for me, you jump on that deal quick. So
I love the metaphors. Re-signing Mariota, it's like buying a house, man.
So that's something that's what I would do as a quarterback, but, well, we're at least not in the worst quarterback situation in the AFC South or in the NFL for that matter. I think that was something that happened right before the Titans game. Did something happen?
It's been kind of a slow news week, has it been? No, it has not been. And actually, I've got like 5 minutes of tape left on my camera, so sorry. So let's get to this. So Andrew Luck, man, no more. Not in the NFL, and people think that he might be coming back in a few years down the road, but I don't know about that. But it doesn't matter because he's not there this year. So that shakes up not only the AFC South, but the whole AFC. I guess go the whole way, the whole NFL by that stretch, because they were picked by a lot of people to be the team to come out of the AFC for the Super Bowl this year. So now the whole AFC South has a different outlook. Windows are open for all these teams. So yeah, one of the most shocking retirements in my lifetime, or as long as I can remember following sports. Some people have called it more shocking or as shocking as Michael Jordan's first retirement. Just as far as a player in their prime at the top of their game, yeah, he was dealing with nagging injuries, but to suddenly out of the blue announce it quits.
Yeah, I mean, that was shocking to me too, because I was, I DJ on the side, so I was at a wedding, and so I was able to take a breather. I see that coming across my phone, and I'm just in shock. Like, this is fake, right? But I see it's Adam Schefter, and I give credibility to Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport. This is one of those two. I know it's true. It has to be. So I was just as shocked as anybody else. And then, just happening like that with a game going on. And I mean, and for the Colts fans to boo him because he decided to retire, absolutely classless on their part.
Boo-birds. Man, that is, that's pretty sad. They're going to have to go through life without a franchise quarterback for the first time in 20 years. Poor them. Refund them their tickets.
No.
Man, it's crazy. But hey, I will say this, man. Don't sleep on. I know it. Well, first of all, it kind of sucks that we never got to beat him. That was always like a thing hanging over us that we now won't ever have the opportunity to reconcile. But hey, man, don't sleep on Jacoby Brissett. He was their starting quarterback 2 seasons ago, and we still had a tough time beating that Colts team. Yeah, we beat them twice, but they were both games that came right down to the wire. And they still have a solid team around him, and he's been in that system, so they're going to be competitive. I don't think people should just be knocking off or writing up W's on their schedule when they see the Colts are next, because they've got good coaching and they've got talent on both sides of the ball.
That's true, and I mean the fact of the matter is with Jacoby Brissett, even though our chances of beating the Colts just went up exponentially, we all still have to remember they have one heck of an offensive line. They have a great offensive line. Their defense is very solid. Darius Leonard, is the real deal. Mm-hmm. He is the real deal. Malik Hooker, we're going to see with him. So, yeah, we might not want to go into week 2 just overconfident thinking, oh, yeah, we got this one in the bag, because the Colts will still smack us in the mouth and we'll be in the same position we were before. So we better be careful with that.
Yep, and for another team in the AFC South, the Houston Texans, not so much a great offensive line like the Colts, and not so much a great running back situation there, because Lamar Miller, again, another great player in this division, is not going to be playing this year. So that's a big blow to that team. Opportunity for the Titans, even more so whenever we play the Texans, because Lamar Miller seems to always play well against us.
Not to mention, their backup running back, Deontay Foreman, who they had a draft pick from Texas, now he's with the Colts. So,
Duke Johnson time. Duke Johnson on every down. He's an every down back now.
That's right. Duke Johnson, is there. And so now, every down back, Deshaun Watson may have to be running for his life again.
Yeah, I know. Hey, he makes it work, though. They won the division last year without a great offensive line, so... oh man! If only Mariota could do that in case our offensive line sucks. That would be nice.
But the door is open, so the door is open. The division is up for grabs. Anybody could get it. And
if Nick Foles pans out to be a good quarterback for the Jags, they got a great defense. Hey, why not? It's anybody's division now.
Hey, if it's anybody's division, why not us?
Why not us?
And last but not least, of course, we had some breaking news earlier today. The Titans, of course, giving up a 7th rounder for the Packers outside linebacker Reggie Gilbert. Didn't know much about him. I think he's an undrafted rookie that they had, I think from a couple of years ago. Coming in, played a few games for the Packers. So now he adds some depth to our outside linebacking core, which maybe says something about, maybe with Derek Roberson or maybe with something happening with Harold Landry. That could add some depth.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, do you think that kind of pushes out someone that they're not high on? Do you think Kamalei Correa is safe on the team? You think I think Sharif Finch will make the team for sure. But Reggie Gilbert is coming here to get a spot on the 53-man roster.
I think so. And the fact is he's going to be on the roster because we gave up a draft pick for him.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think a guy like a DeAndre Walker, who hasn't really played at all, or like you said, maybe a Kamalei Correa is at risk, but I doubt it. But I think that does push a spot away from somebody. So we're definitely going to find out. We'll see what this guy's made of. If he passes everything, maybe he gets to play tomorrow night. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah, we need some more pass rushing depth. I like Cameron Wake. We haven't seen him play in a full game for us since he is 37 years old. And I like Harold Landry. They've been kind of holding him back all year. But yeah, as long as we need that. We do need that depth, though, because pass rush was an issue for us at times last year.
Absolutely.
A lot of times, actually. So
absolutely with that. So, any pass rush help is better than none. in my honest opinion. So
definitely. All right, well let's go ahead and wrap it up. I actually ran out of tape on here, but I think I'll be able to get the footage that we're recording on this thing. So I'll just like switch it out. But yeah, that's all I got. You got any more to say for this episode?
Well, nah, nothing else. But I will tell everybody, make sure y'all stay tuned. Just make sure y'all stay tuned. Titans and Truth coming. So following up Titans Tube, and this is gonna be a tough act to follow, but definitely check it out right there. Titans and Truth. Catch me on Facebook. TNT Enforcers is the page, or Chris A. Newell. Instagram at Titans_N_Truth. Instagram at Blue Enforcer. That's BLUEN 4 CER on Twitter. So catch me there and catch me on YouTube just right now, and you'll definitely see it. So we're gonna definitely get more into that, but it's been an honor.
Ooh, I love it, man. Excellent. I appreciate you joining us here, and we're definitely gonna be doing this again. You got some great insight. Always love talking to you, man.
It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to doing it again. Caleb, I might be taking your job. No, I'm kidding.
His job's at risk. It's at risk. No, there are no jokes here about that.
Caleb might give me for that.
Eventually, he will join us, so we'll have a three-way chat going on. Hopefully,
I don't mind that at all. That'll be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and look for his videos and Titans Tube videos as well. We'll see you guys next time.
Tighten up.